Thanks, Chief Hudson. Morning, everyone. I'd just like to reiterate what Chief Hudson talked about earlier in regards to getting claims out from the federal government. Like, Peguis has to incur costs. Like, when a flood occurs, there's roads that have to be repaired, people evacuated, basements cleaned and stripped. So once that work is done, then the documentation has to be prepared. That is then submitted to EMO, who reviews it to make sure the costs are all eligible. Then it goes to the federal government, and then they release the funds back to Peguis to say that, okay, you spent $200,000, we will reimburse you for that $200,000. So that's a very key point that I want everyone to keep in mind. Okay, this is the letter that Brock wrote myself, and it's, everyone's got a copy of it, and it states the money that INAC has released to Peguis. And you can see that on April 1st, there was 200,000, September 3rd, 400,000, October 7th, 1 million, and November 25th, another million. So to date, they've advanced 2.6 million for all of flood costs that Peguis has incurred. And that, Peguis has incurred more than 2.6 million actually, but the federal government has only reimbursed Peguis for the 2.6 at the present time. And that number is being reviewed by them to make sure that all the costs are eligible, so that that 2.6 is totally eligible to be reimbursed. Okay, this explains how the money was spent in general terms. Like April, there was 200,000, and that was to prepare for the flood in the April event. In the July flood event, we received $400,000, and that was to respond to the flood event. And this is repairing roads, doing basements, evacuating people. Then in October, $1 million, again, the same thing. We're responding to the flood event. We're evacuating people, cleaning homes, getting the people, the basements prepared so that they can be restored down the road. And this is also part of the November 25th, again, $1 million. Now, this is also paying for costs to have people, inspectors, come in and assess the damages so that they can say that, okay, there's 2 feet of the basement has to be replaced, the flooring has to be replaced, hot water tank, furnace, whatever the roof, whatever the case may be, all these individual components of the floodplain have to be identified, and then we take that and our flood staff puts all those numbers together of the cost of contractors that were hired to repair the roofs. And that's all documented so that we submit that to the federal government through EMO first, so Peguis can get reimbursed. Okay, so this talks about the April event. You can see we got a cash advance of 200,000, and this was to go for, this identifies exactly what it was used for, labor, casual wages, for people to do the sandbagging of homes, the contractors, septic, we had to pump out pump stations, try to keep the water from flowing back into the people's homes. And of course, there was some damage due to septic materials the sandbags themselves, sand and gravel, the equipment, septic trucks to pump out to the lift stations, backhoes, bobcats, vehicles to evacuate individuals, and then of course the administration costs, you know, the telephone, the rental of the blood office, you know, office supplies to make copies, etc. July event, same thing. We've got a total of 2.4 million altogether, and that was for fighting the floods for the July event, sandbagging, again, the infrastructure of the roads, washouts, culvert crossings, main crossings that were washed out, and everyone's aware that Abs Crossing is still washed out. You know, starting on the rebuilds, you know, we've repaired a lot of roofs. We'll get at that. We'll get into the exact numbers here a little bit later, but we've started replacing furnaces, hot water tanks, and then, of course, the administration to document all this so we can gather the proof of documentation to provide the federal government so that they will reimburse Peguis for the costs that Peguis has incurred. So this goes through some more detailed explanation of the July event. So you can see that the wages for individual workers, we've got in the salary for the office staff for just over 700,000. There's some travel involved to into Winnipeg, 1,500. You know, the telephone bill for the center itself, 7,500. Gravel, $161,000. Various equipment purchases. We've bought some pumps to help alleviate the flooding best we could. That was $5,000 to $6,000. Other equipment rentals for this is renting more pumps, generators, the machines themselves for backhoes. We're looking at $371,000. The rental of the office space at the flood center, $114,000 today. Contractors, this is for the house inspections. We hire people that are skilled in coming in and doing detailed house inspections, and they know the exact form that the EMO is looking for, all the data that EMO needs to process. And so we've incurred costs of almost $401,000 for those individuals. General contractors, this is for costs of roofers go out to do repairing the works, the roof, the hot water tanks, the electricians. $186,000, $187,000 almost. Pumping costs for the $338,000 for the lift stations, pump out the sewage to keep it from backing up into people's homes. We've got material renovations. We've already started repairing basements. So the materials alone cost us $91,000. And then there's some other miscellaneous new materials there for $700. Office supplies. You can appreciate that the amount of paper that's required to, you know, we have to keep a copy on file for Peguis, so they've got it for future reference. Copies have to be sent into LANAC, spread over, you know, photocopying supplies and computers, etc. $21,000. And then gas purchases for the equipment rentals, and to get people evacuated, take them into Winnipeg, various locations and hotels, spend another $51,000. So to date, that comes to almost 2.2 million. And then the individual claims to date that have been approved by EMO total just over